want to try? Can I try this strap? Yeah, this is what he's saying too.
You first?
What is this witchcraft? Now it's technically.
What is this? Michael Todd tomfoolery?
This is Bob Brown.
Sit down.
So the concept is it shouldn't really feel like we're strapped together. Like we should still have the mobility in our hand and wrist. And we can't, like I can't.
Okay, yeah, that actually feels way better.
More like we're out of
The strap is tight, but
yeah,
this
But
is
you're
loose.
still connected.
yeah, but this part like I can't do all this move fuckery, all that strap fuckery.
You're not actually connected.
Because we're not actually connected. We're connected wrist to wrist, not wrist to hand. Right?
What's up, guys? I'm Alex.
I'm Jason. We're the Table Monkeys, and today we are going to talk a little bit more about the strap.
And there's been a new introduction into the world of strap arm wrestling lately.
Bob Brown did a extremely long video going down the rabbit hole of strap and strap pulling, and we happened to watch it. And one of the things he touches on near the end is this kind of a different way of strapping up that makes the strap actually 100% symmetrical between the pullers. And he suggested that people play around with it in practice and see how you like it. So this past practice, we decided to try it a few times,
And it's definitely different.
Yeah, we wanted to talk about
Yeah,
it.
it definitely changes the game a little bit. So why don't we just throw the strap on right away?
So, well, first of all, if you don't know how to apply the traditional strap or the fair strap, as Devin calls it, and is used in the PAL and pretty much every, recognizable league, where you basically the strap is attached wrist to hand, is how the strapping works, and you feed through the middle. You're going to wrap your the person with the buckles wrist first. If you don't know how to do that strap, shame on you. You should. Video up in the window. We've gone over it many times. That one will cover how to wrap it with the twist and all the most updated version of how to put on a fairer strap. But this new strap version, you're actually attached wrist to wrist. So let's just show you the difference or what Bob Brown has presented. So we're going to start with the strap the same way, obviously, between our thumbs. And then normally I would go like this and I would wrap around the buckle wrist first. But with this new way, we're going to come around my wrist first. Then we're going to go around the buckle wrist.
And then we're going to go through the
middle. So we're still going through the middle. Then we're going to bring both elbows are going to be as like at the front of the pad as much as we can, and we're going to pull through. And then this is something I've been doing with the strap all the time now because I saw Bill Collins do this. And what he does is he holds the strap down because everybody wants the strap down this part of their hand. So instead of making sure that it's fair for everybody, he resets the strap before he feeds it through. And since I've been doing that, I always get a much better strap, regardless of whether I do it this way or the traditional wrist to hand way. So now we crank it down, and right away, one of the main differences you can feel is that there's way more fluidity in our hands. Climbing, we can get way past each other's hands, dropping down, pulling back, getting deeper, all that. There's way more give in here. But the main thing that Bob noticed was the wrist to hand connection, right?
Right, so there's only one strap connecting us like wrist to wrist right here. Usually there'll be two straps, which would have one strap above the other, which is where the advantage lies to the person that doesn't have the buckle, because their strap is lower or is higher than the other person, which gives them a little bit of an advantage.
It's a minor fraction of an advantage, and we're not gonna say that it doesn't exist, but if you apply the strap really well, I feel that it is so minor that maybe it comes down to styles. There are certain styles that might prefer a buckle over not having the buckle, but in reality, I feel like it is so close to fair at that point that I don't know that that's what we need to fix necessarily.
And also, if you do have the buckle, you do get to decide how tight the strap is, so you get a little bit of advantage there.
But there is no question that the fact that we're not attached wrist to hand, we're attached wrist to wrist. In a traditional strap, when I go and do, as Bob Brown was saying, when I go and pronate this way, like, yes, there's some pressure being applied, but in a traditional strap, his wrist is just going to buckle right away.
If I resist it, it's not bending back.
Yeah, exactly. And it feels exactly like pulling without a strap, as if there was some sort of magnetic force holding us together. Like, I can't use the strap to affect my opponent's hand in any way, really. It's just holding us together 100%.
Yeah. So immediately that changes the game a bit. We know how effective kicking back into the strap this way is with King's moving, right? So,
or dropping into the strap this way, pressing, which is the one that Bob Brown noticed is obviously if somebody rolls and somebody presses, the amount of pressure that I can get into the strap here is much different than if I have it wrist to hand or the traditional way.
Yeah, and because we're not as tightly wrapped together, I can climb out of his hand, and theoretically we could slip in the strap.
Yeah.
It's not going to be, it's not going to happen all the time, but it's possible.
But that is one of the issues with it. Now, obviously, okay, so there's more mobility. The main thing that he noted, which we definitely noticed in practice, is it feels a lot more like pulling outside of the strap. Basically what I just said earlier, it feels like we're pulling outside of the strap, but there's like some force holding our hands together that we just can't, the only thing we can't do is like pull apart that way.
Yeah.
But other than that, we can do everything as if we were outside of the strap. So that is obviously interesting, and it doesn't add to the game though. That's kind of our, I don't want to say our issue with it, just what we've noticed about it, right?
If we really love the combat aspect of arm wrestling, then what we're doing by changing the strap to this fairer strap is we're reducing the amount of technical like options that you have in the strap. So King's moving isn't as effective, flopping isn't effective. We shrink the sport a little bit so that the top of the hill
becomes the most important part again.
Exactly.
And as Alex said, the kind of extreme ends of the hill become much less effective. Basically, it almost taking Jerry Cadaret and Michael Todd out of the game, because when you really can't apply those moves effectively through the strap, they become relatively useless the same way they would be outside of the strap. So in that sense, we feel like it might shrink the game a little bit. And one of the interesting things about the strap is the fact that it does change the pulling a little bit. Some pullers don't want it and some pullers do want it, so it's a whole nother element. If we think about the spectator side of the sport and the idea of, like Alex said, the combat side of the sport, a big part of that is speculation, is discussion, is talking about what you think is going to happen. And if this doesn't change the game, then basically it's just going to allow, like it's going to result in this, it's going to end up with the same result if we were to pull outside of the strap, more or less.
Yeah.
Do you know what I
So
mean?
it's going to make some people happy, it's going to make some people unhappy.
Yeah.
It's going to reduce the amount of options that people have. It's going to make some strap masters unable to pull their style, which is going to essentially kick them out of the game or force them to pull a different way.
Basically, so in discussing this between us, sort of the two options or maybe the two directions we thought might make sense if you wanted to apply this strap, or if you wanted to separate them and how they could be applied, the two different types of strap. I feel that if you're going to go to this type of strap, there's no sense in pulling outside of it at all, because it changes so little about the game. In our brief little experiment so far, it doesn't seem to change anything other than the fact that we can't open-handedly pull ourselves apart.
So essentially we save time because there's no possibility of slipping.
Right, so skip the slip, just go right to this strap and let everybody pull. So maybe in a big tournament where there's hundreds of pullers and you want to get through lots and lots of matches, this might make more sense because you're not having that whole extra step of slipping apart and then going in the strap. You're just starting right in this strap. Whereas the other strap maybe is better for super matches, or where you want the pullers to earn their strap. And that's maybe where this discussion is coming from, is the fact that there are leagues now where you basically get the strap without having to earn it, and therefore that kind of shrinks the game too, because now the only kind of pulling that's really going to work in that league is straight strap pulling, wrist to hand strap pulling.
Right. Yeah.
So
makes sense.
So in a sense, I think that it really comes down to defining the rules of how you get the strap, and I don't think that it's that big of a problem in the leagues when it's called well, but it varies so much. I can see why people are looking for something different.
All right, so in our conclusion, the Bob Brown strap is definitely interesting. I think it needs to be looked at more, tested out more. But in our little brief assessment, we've only tried it out once, so we definitely need to test it out more. It shrinks the sport, is kind of our conclusion. It makes the outside spectrums of arm wrestling, the further ends of the spectrum, a little bit less relevant, shrinks it back to, so the top of the hill is the most important. So
it might have some application, like we said, in large tournaments or where you want things to be efficient. If you were to do a style where we went straight to this strap for every pull right from the beginning, but like Alex said, in our brief conclusion, I guess the way to kind of summarize it is,
Oh, fuck.
got him, motherfucker. Quick way to summarize it is that with the traditional way of strapping the strap, the wrist becomes more dominant in that style of pulling, where outside of the strap, the hand is more dominant. So if outside of the strap, the hand is more dominant, the wrist dominant puller has an opportunity to get to the strap and therefore use his wrist to overpower the more powerful hand. With this new style, the hand is more dominant inside the strap or outside of the strap. It doesn't change the sport or the pulling in any way.
Right.
So that's why we feel it shrinks it.
And even if you are still a hand-dominant arm wrestler, you have the opportunity outside of the strap to control your opponent and not let them get to the strap.
Yeah, something that Levon just showed us with Dave, whether or not he needed to do that, it was clear that that was his plan, and he wasn't going to give Dave the opportunity to find newfound power in the strap. And if he's going to pull Sabin again, that's probably the game plan, is keep him out of the strap. If he pulls Michael Todd, probably the game plan, just keep him out of the strap. There's a guy around here, Joseph Spoljar, you may have seen him in some of our videos. Hand is absolutely stupid. He's strong in the strap, but he does not like the strap, so his plan is keep you out of the strap. Just hang on to that fucking hand. And that's the point, is that if you're a hand dominant person, you have an opportunity to keep people from getting to the strap with your dominant hand. And if you do get yourself into the strap and you're against a wrist dominant person, well, now they have the advantage, and that's just the game and what you have to play for.
More styles of athletes are able to compete at the higher level.
And is it fair? Well, you made this point. In this style is fair for the hand dominant puller, regardless of the buckle. The wrist dominant puller is going to have a worse time in the Bob Brown strap than he will in the other strap without the buckle, 100% of the time. So that's our conclusion. Yep. Definitely interesting. Definitely try it out, feel it, because it feels awesome. I would suggest, even like in training for out of the strap arm wrestling, you could pull in a strap like that, so you're able to maybe pull more in practice. Yep. Or not have to worry about slipping as much. Like even when we did it, if you both post high, like if we both just try to slip, you end up in a spot where we're not going anywhere, and one of us has to make an adjustment and go somewhere different and find like a new lane. So it can lead you maybe to explore out of the strap arm wrestling a little differently, but definitely not something that the sport should be changing to right away without some more analysis. But it's interesting for sure.
Exactly. So if you like this video, please like the video, leave some feedback in the comments, let us know what you think. Try this out in practice, and get back to us.
Let us know what you think. Subscribe, smash that bell, all those things.
And monkeys out.
Peace.